Have you ever wondered what separates a beginner producer from a professional? Well, today I'm taking one track through 4 different stages, from basic loops to a club-ready masterpiece. Let's dive in. So first up, we have the beginner project, which is usually just a loop. A lot of beginners just get to this stage, they don't know how to arrange it into a fully structured track, but this is the loop here, so let's take a listen. We've got this idea here. So nothing is really mixed well. There's no sense of depth within the mix because there's no reverbs, there's no delays. The drums are very stripped back. There's not really any layering going on with the sounds, and yeah, everything just doesn't really sound at the right level. It's just a bit cluttered. Now, everybody starts at this stage. So the idea, it does have potential. It's just not fleshed out enough. It's not structured properly, nor is it sounding as tight and as full and fat as it could do, because perhaps we've not done anything like layering, have more sophisticated supporting elements that are going to help take this track to the next level. So this is level 1, what a beginner might be able to come up with. But of course, remember, getting your tracks finished is very important. We've all been here, just a loop and a dream. If you're a beginner producer or even experienced one, hit that subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on all the content we have coming. This is the intermediate project. Now, the track has been fully structured here, which is good. Like, a lot of people would consider this to be finished and ready to go. A few more additional sounds. It's got more sophisticated drums with more drum patterns. Got a second rhythmic bass in this time to add a bit more groovy support. But the low end is just not really sounding that fat on this one. Got a few extra like supporting elements here, like to help with the groove. Got some piano chord supports, which are very dry. And it's got 2 layers to the lead now. Typically very loud in these kind of compositions. And got a little ARP in the background as well, fill out the space a bit more. Some vocals and some atmosphere. So this is like, you know, we're getting there. We're getting tracks structured, and this is typically where an intermediate track would sit. Like if you listen to transitions, perhaps. First drop here, right? Take a listen here. This is the drop. You might notice that there wasn't really any transition. It just sort of happened. There was no indication to the listener that, hey, something's about to happen, hence why there's all these effects and there's a sense of tension and release. Intermediate producers often don't put this kind of detail into their tracks, but it's something that if you're at this level, you should start thinking about right now, because it will really take you to the next level. Speaking of which, let's take a look at the advanced project. All right, now this is the advanced project. So let's just dive back into what's making this a little bit different. So you'll see there's actually quite a lot of red automation lines here, which is where advanced people start thinking about a bit more about the flow of the track and how it unfolds over time. So there might be as well a little bit more sophisticated layering taking place on some of the elements as well. Sounds are going to evolve a bit more over time. For example, here, you have some filtering taking place on the elements as they're being introduced. Listen to how that same first drop takes place here compared to the intermediate. You can actually hear there's a transition there. And the reason why there is because there's additional effects in, such as reverse crashes, like noise sweeps, risers perhaps, and like synth shots reversed, which are going to help the flow of the track a little bit more, are really critical for transitions. And they were going to sound a whole lot more cohesive, like the listener's actually going to know when the drop's coming, when breakdowns are happening, and what have you. You're guiding the listener in the right direction a lot more as you get to the advanced stage. But there's still quite a bit we can do. The sounds are still quite static if you listen to them. We listen to here on the final drop. Listen to the lead sound compared to here. And all the other sounds, like the timbre, they're kind of staying constant, right? They might be more sophisticated, but yet they're not really changing much over time in terms of their character. The mixdown also sounds a whole lot better in this one because as an advanced producer, you tend to know a lot more about mixing, balancing, and what have you. But it's still not really got that final pristine polish. I'll show you what that will look like. And finally, let's take a look at the Pro project. So if we open this up, you'll see there is a substantial amount of automation. There's way more layering. So the sub and main bass components have been split. There's an additional mid layer on this stabby bass to help it cut through the mix. Plus, look at all this automation. It's very dynamic and expressive, as on the Reese bass as well from before. There's also substantial amounts of automation. Now, you'll hear the difference in this in a second, but let's just break it down. On the lead as well, there's substantial automation to change the timbre and flavor of it. There's a little pre-drop section here to really amp up the tension with a fake drop. Also resampled components of instruments to create background ear candy effects, like here and here. I will play them in a second. And also here. Look at the automation on this ARP. There's also more automation on this LFO lead. All sorts of stuff to really take this to the next level, and it's mixed and mastered. Sounds a lot tighter. So listen to like the transition into this drop now. As how the sounds change and evolve. Particularly here. This part here. So much more tension and release. Now listen to the lead, particularly. How much difference in character and timbre it has. Sometimes plucky, sometimes more sustained. Like there. Way, way, way more expression. Lots more flavor. Like this. These lead resamples here as well. Check this out. You have these like... This is the main lead. Being converted to audio and used as a texture in the background of the mix. So you can hear it coming in here. Quite subtle in the mix. And also you have like this resampling echo here, which is then using this transition. You'll hear it build up in a second. Coming in here. Bump it up so you can hear it more. So all of this subtle detail, right? It's just night and day difference, really. But obviously between the beginner and intermediate, but even between the advanced and the pro, there is so much more tension release and thought that's gone into really creating a journey for the listener and getting them locked in. Like there's no stagnant sections. It's like, oh, everything is changing and evolving. Like, look at this, the expression of this bass, like at the start over here, very dark and plucky, opening up, then stabby, and it opens up here. Way more expression on the notes, right? Like here. Compared to how it was before, where it was just doing the same thing over and over again, right? So what the pros are doing that you're not doing probably is this automation, like playing with parameters on synths so that it creates a complement to the arrangement as well. It guides the listener in the direction through the sounds, creating tension and release as well. There's also more sophisticated layering, like on this bass, for example. We have this bass support lead here, which is playing additional notes, so check it out. Without it. That's a lot more grit and flavor. Context of the mix. Really night and day difference. So that's essentially it. So no matter where you are in the journey, maybe you're on the cusp of pro and you're an advanced, maybe you're intermediate, maybe you're just a beginner, you can hopefully see the progression that is going to take place in your journey. If you're just starting out, try get your first track finished. If you don't know anything about arrangement, we have a free course in our school community. Link is in the description. It's called the Arrangement Storyteller. It will help you get your track structured and finished. But if you're more on the intermediate advanced level, start thinking about how you can create more of a journey with tension and release. Now, this is a skill that will take probably quite a while to master, but getting your tracks finished, getting to that stage. Usually when you think, okay, I think this track is finished, is when the pros will be going that extra mile, spending another 2-3 hours on the automation. Now, just for reference, I spend probably about 40 to 50% of the time that I'm making a track on the arrangement and automation, maybe even more, maybe 60 or even 70% on certain tracks to get it right. Time for which most people aren't even accounting for, particularly intermediates and certainly beginners, but even advanced people probably won't be doing the automation, or at least the amount that is required. Like, just look at how many lanes of automation there are on the sounds, right? There's a lot. And this is just on the lead, like all these blue ones. Like, look how many lanes there are, right? It's crazy. And also, like on this ARP, there's 3 lines of automation. Like on the basses, like this is just the bass. Like, look at all of this, right? This is the kind of stuff that pros are doing. It takes time, but without it, it's just not going to have that sense of tension release, right? Now, if you feel like you're banging your head against the wall and just don't really know how to get your music to this pro level, if that's what you want to do, if you are interested in taking your music to the pro level, I have a video right here, which is going to explain the exact roadmap I took from being a bedroom producer to being a full-time professional. Click that link up here, and there's a very exciting thing at the end of that video that you need to check out. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please do drop a comment if you found this video useful, and let me know what you'd like me to cover. Until next time, happy producing. See you on the other side.